Welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. Hope you guys have an awesome day, by the way. In today's video, I'm going to take a deep dive into Realtor.com's weekly housing market update that was actually just published today at the time of this video, which is the 21st of July. And they reported housing market trends through July 16th of this year. So I mention this all the time on the channel. I really like their housing market updates, also on Redfin's as well, because they post more timely housing market updates or housing market trends across the nation compared to CoreLogic and the National Association of Realtors. So for example, the National Association of Realtors actually just released June's stats, but Realtor.com actually announced stats through the middle of July as of today. So this is more timely housing market stats or housing market updates. And of course, I really hope you guys appreciate these timely housing market updates because personally, I'm having a lot of fun doing them because a lot of changes have occurred so far this year. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the video here. Again, this was published today, the 21st, and this is for the week ending July 16th. This is the data for the week ending July 16th. And by the way, there has been some changes over the past couple of weeks here, so I'm really excited to share this with you guys. It says here this week marks the second consecutive week of fewer homeowners deciding to sell. In other words, we're seeing a decrease of new listings over the past couple of weeks, which has been a changing trend over the past couple of weeks here. Fortunately for buyers, the dip is lower than last week's. Last week was the week for July 4th holiday. So of course, new listings decrease. A lot of people decide not to list their houses during holiday weeks. But this second consecutive week of decreases of new listings is an important metric or important indicator to watch closely. And here's a key point here that you guys should be aware of. It says the recent trend toward balance in this housing market, in other words, moving towards a more balanced housing market, could be thrown off if seller participation lost momentum. The recent new listings declines hint at that possibility. So in other words, what we're seeing right now, at least over the past couple of weeks, is that we're seeing fewer new listings hit the market. And if we want to have a more balanced housing market, obviously we need to see a lot more new listings hitting the market. And the chief economist for Realtor.com, who actually wrote this article here, who's Danielle Hale, she basically talked about this rapid run-up in mortgage rates and, of course, rising home prices. And because of that, for the person buying the average price home in America right now, it went up from about $1,300 per month from 1 year ago to now around $2,000. So in order to buy basically the same house right now compared to 1 year ago, it's going to cost home buyers approximately $700 more per month to buy that same house because we've seen this run up in home prices and, of course, rising mortgage rates. And she says here this is especially hurting first-time homebuyers right now because in order to buy a house, that mortgage payment is approximately $561 higher per month than renting a house. So because of all this, we're seeing a pullback in home buying demand right now. And she says as buyer demand wanes, builders have grown concerned, pulling back on building single-family houses and moving towards building multifamily construction properties right now. In other words, builders right now are moving towards building apartment buildings to rent out instead of building single-family houses. And if you guys missed my previous video, I will very briefly touch on this because this is very important. Taking a look at housing starts, this is according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Housing starts for single-family houses actually decreased by 8.1% from 1 month ago and also decreased by almost 16% from 1 year ago. This is a report from the U.S. Census Bureau that was actually just announced a couple days ago. In stark contrast, look at units of 5 units or more. And these are for apartment buildings to rent out. The vast majority of these are for renting out. Take a look at this. Increased by 15% compared to 1 month ago, and increased by 16.4% from 1 year ago. So clearly builders are focused on building multifamily properties right now and not so much single-family houses. Okay, let's change gears slightly and talk about home prices. The median listing price, in other words, this is the home price that home sellers ask for their houses, the median asking price grew by 16.6% over last year. This is actually up from last year by double digits for the 31st consecutive week. However, other data suggests we're seeing a housing market rebalancing right now. This is because we're seeing more home sellers, for example, who are reducing their asking prices. And according to Realtor.com, the share of listings with a price cut was nearly double from 1 year ago. It's actually much worse than that because according to altosresearch.com, that's altosresearch.com, the share of price reductions right now is 33.3%. So the share of price drops has basically doubled ever since April 1st of this year. And going back to this report from Realtor.com, it says, as inventories increase and balance returns to this housing market, we expect to see home price growth ease lower in the second half of 2022. And they basically mentioned here that we tend to see a peak in home prices around this time of year as well. So it'd be more normal to see home price growth slow in the second half of this year. Okay, let's talk about new listings. And of course, a new listing is when a home seller lists their home for sale. That was actually down 3% compared to 1 year ago. And this is the second consecutive week where we had decreases in new listings compared to 1 year ago. Now, despite this decrease of new listings, they basically talk about that homeowners are still in a good position right now to sell because as of June, we reached an all-time record low for days on the market. So houses selling very, very quickly as of June. But it says here that time on the market is expected to increase from the recent record lows. But data suggests that homes priced well are still selling very quickly. And by the way, what they mean by priced well is that the home is not overpriced. And that's where we're seeing a lot of price reductions right now because we're seeing a lot of overzealous sellers right now. And therefore, they have to reduce their asking prices in order to attract a home buyer. Now, she's absolutely right that homeowners in general are still in a very good position right now because we still have a strong seller's market. So according to altosresearch.com, take a look at this. They are still calling the housing market in general across the nation. Of course, every housing market's different, right? But across the nation, though, on average, it's still a strong seller's market. However, though, this meter here from a very, very strong seller's market to a buyer's market has basically been moving towards a buyer's market over the past couple of weeks here. As you can see, last month, the reading was basically right here. The meter was right here. It was still a strong seller's market, but it is moving towards the direction of a buyer's market right now. Okay, let's talk about housing inventory, and then I'm going to be sharing some trends we're seeing over the past couple of weeks here as well. So active listings grew 29% from 1 year ago. With fewer homeowners listing their houses for sale though last week and last, the rapid recent run-up in active inventory has stalled somewhat. So for example, at the beginning of May, we basically had the same number of houses listed for sale compared to 1 year ago. And the gains mounted each week until early July. In other words, we had an increase of active listings from the beginning of May until early July this year. Since then, the market has stabilized though because we have around a 30% increase of active listings over the past few weeks. And speaking of housing inventory, the number of active listings remained less than half its June 2019 level and also just shy of 2/3 its June 2020 mark. So put this another way, home buyers have more options right now, but we need a lot more in order to balance out this housing market even further. And I'll mention this again because I don't believe we need to see active listings to reach 2019's levels in order to have a balanced housing market because back in February of this year, we basically had all-time record lows of inventory. So if we were going to move towards a 2019's levels from all-time record lows, that would basically crash our housing market because there would be a glutton of houses listed for sale compared to the first part of this year. And here's a table showing the changes in home prices, new listings, active listings, and also days on the market. And by the way, these are percent changes year over year. So again, the median listing price year to date, we're actually up 14.6%. But as you can see here, the current rate right now is up 16.6% from one year ago. So this is a 16.6% increase of the median listing price compared to 1 year ago at this time. Meanwhile, look at this. New listings are actually flat year to date. But look at this. For the week ending July 2nd, we're up 8%. But as I mentioned in this video here, we saw a decrease of new listings over the past couple of weeks. So for this week, new listings decreased by 6%. That was for the week of July 4th. So it makes sense we had a decrease of new listings. But right now, for the week ending July 6th, new listings are down 3%. Meanwhile, though, active listings are up 29% from 1 year ago. So two things I want to mention regarding this. So this big decrease of about 29% of active listings from 1 year ago is really from a pullback in home buying demand because over the past couple of weeks, the number of new listings has been decreasing. So right now, the increase of active listings is really from a pullback in home buying demand. It's taking longer for houses to sell, for example. In my personal opinion, though, this increase on a year-over-year basis is not really the big headline we should be focusing on because active listings have been increasing by 64% compared to February of this year. So here's housing inventory levels according to Uncle Fred. And of course, the source here is Realtor.com. So as of February 2022 this year, we had 376,000 houses for sale, and now we have 619,000 houses. So by my dumb math, that's approximately a 64% increase since February. To me, this is the bigger news headline. Housing inventory increasing by 64% in 4 months instead of housing inventory increasing by 29% over the past 12 months. And because of this giant increase of housing supply, we're seeing more price reductions, but also houses are selling slower. So for the week ending July 16th, houses sold 1 day faster compared to the same week 1 year ago. For this week, though, for the week ending July 2nd, it was 2 days faster. Also, the average this year is 8 days faster. Therefore, houses are selling faster compared to 1 year ago, but the gap compared to 1 year ago has been closing. And according to Realtor.com, they stated that this is due to seasonality of our housing market and also cooling of home buying demand. So comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. If you guys got any value out of today's video whatsoever, then please hit the like button and greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.